now you see a lot of small businesses using cloud applications for everything because it just makes it a lot easier to do. No one vendor can do everything, and that's why it's important that their platform is open and extensible, so you can easily add in those other core apps. It's very important for the customer to kind of say, where is this vendor's sweet spot? What are they really good at? Because that'll help you pick a better solution.
The following is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that helps you get the job, manage the job, and get credit.
Hey, this is Gordon Henry at Winning on Main Street. And this week you get to meet Laurie McCabe. Laurie is co-founder and partner at SMB Group, a tech industry research analysis and consulting firm focused on SMB tech adoption and trends. She's an expert on cloud computing, mobile solutions, business solutions, social networking, and managed services. She spent over 20 years working on cloud computing, more than most people. She was named one of the 50 most influential people in small business marketing by allbusiness.com. She blogs at lauriemccabe.com. That's LaurieMccabe, lauriemccabe.com. That's where you can find her. And over 15,000 people follow her on Twitter. Welcome, Laurie.
Thanks, Gordon. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, good to have you. So I'm excited to talk to you because cloud computing is such a buzzword these days. Maybe you can break it down for us, particularly how it helps or enables small businesses. And just to level set, when we talk about the world of small business, SMBs, it can, means a lot of things to a lot of people. Here at Thryv, our customer base tends to be 1 to 20 employees. What do you think of as SMBs?
Yeah, well, at SMB Group, we do a lot of survey research, and we kind of divide the SMB universe up into a few big groups. So there's very small business, which is 1 to 19 employees, small businesses 20 to 100, and then medium up to 1,000, and mid-market 1,000 to 2,500. So we really are looking at all of those segments. But I think the one that dovetails most with your audience is this 1 to 20.
Yeah, no, that's what we should be talking about. So let's just start with a basic question. What is the cloud and why should an SMB even care?
Well, I mean, the cloud, it's really this infrastructure with all of the hardware, middleware, services, software, everything needed to run applications and provide updates and maintenance for those applications for other businesses. So it basically gives you as a small business a way to get access to pretty sophisticated applications a lot of the time that you don't have to do anything in terms of on the back end, installing them, managing them, getting hardware to run them on. It just basically lifts all that off of you. And the other thing is usually you pay for cloud services, on a subscription model. So instead of having to buy a lot of stuff up front, you just pay a monthly or annual subscription fee, and you have access to those applications and services from there. So I think there's a lot of big benefits to the cloud, and we've definitely seen over the years that it's just really helped small businesses go from maybe having 1 or 2 different applications to having more that they can use to automate more of their businesses. So if you go back even maybe 10 years, maybe a lot of very small businesses used accounting. They use their personal productivity apps, like Word and PowerPoint and things. But that was kind of it. Email. Now you see a lot of small businesses using cloud applications for everything from, accounts payable to HR, payroll, CRM, sales management, marketing, all of those kinds of things, because it just makes it a lot easier to do.
Sure. So when you think about the cloud and some of the applications you just talked about, I mean, it gets a little bit confusing, I would imagine, for a small business who's starting to like you said, do email, do marketing, do maybe social, do accounting, doing payroll, all with different tools. How do you keep it all straight, especially if you're an SMB? How do you tie it all together so these things kind of work together and talk to each other and it doesn't just become complicated?
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, we find first of all, we find the biggest challenge for most small businesses, not necessarily as they get a little larger, but definitely in that 1 to 20 range, is just figuring out which solutions are going to work well for my business, which are really going to solve my problems and do it in a way that doesn't cause me more problems. That it's not too hard to use. I'm not going to get, bogged down in the whole thing. I'm not going to have problems integrating it with other solutions, all of that kind of thing. But what has happened for a lot of businesses is, as I mentioned, the cloud's made it really easy to adopt a lot of new applications, right? So now the average, even very small business probably uses 6 to 10 cloud applications. So you've got kind of this jumble of stuff a lot of times. It doesn't work together well. And at a certain point, I think what we see is integration is a big priority. So a lot of these businesses are kind of looking for a way to get all these business functions and workflows working better together. And it's just not an easy leap though for some, but I think we're definitely seeing new businesses starting up looking for that kind of integrated solution right off the bat, so they don't have to do integration after the fact. And we're also seeing businesses, I talked to one yesterday that have been running a whole bunch of different solutions and made the leap to an integrated platform and really hasn't looked back because it saved them time and saved them money and helped them operate a lot more efficiently.
Yep. Here at Thryv, our company, we've developed an end-to-end, what we call client experience platform. It's really a CRM, but it really begins when a small business gets an appointment. The customer could make their appointment through, and then all of the communication, the back and forth, the email, the texting, the estimates, the invoices, the payments, even the social piece. That's all done in the platform. And then finally, even things like asking for a referral. So we don't attempt to do everything. There are pieces that sit outside, like, for example, accounting. Many small businesses use QuickBooks. We integrate with QuickBooks. We integrate with many other popular tools. But the idea is to have an integrated solution so it feels more connected and the data can flow back and forth.
Right. And that's a good point. No one vendor can do everything. And that's why it's important that their platform is open and extensible. So you can easily add in those other core apps. And, the other thing I would say is there's so many solutions out there. And, even as platforms for small businesses today, and some of them really may skew towards services businesses. Some of them may skew more to product type centric businesses. Some of them may skew more to a B2C, consumer type business. Or a B2B business. So, I think it's important to kind of look at what are the major, like you were mentioning, scheduling and appointments and things like that. So if you're a hairdresser or a dental office or something like that, that is really important. But if you're a strictly e-tailer company, then maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a whole nother thing that Thryv has there. But it's very important for the customer to kind of say, where is this vendor's sweet spot? What are they really good at? Who are they really focused in on? Because that'll help you pick a better solution for you.
Yeah, 100%. And we've been clear. While we do have a broad array of customers, most of them are in the service category. For exactly what you were saying there, we really designed our product, particularly our payment solution, for service-based businesses. So. You're right. I think there is a specialization. So just moving on a little bit, what do you find for SMBs is hard about adopting technology as small businesses try to make the leap either to the cloud for the first time or maybe to expand their use of? What's hard for them?
Well, I mentioned before that just figuring out what to use
Mm,
is the biggest hurdle a lot of times. But even before you get to that, it's just taking the time to take a step back. As small business owners, we are a small business owner. Um, just you get so caught up in the day-to-day running of the business, right? All the things you have to do for your clients and to keep the lights on and to do the paperwork, whether you're doing that online or manually, that you need to do to keep juggling all these balls that you have to do. So taking a step back from the day-to-day of the business to look at your business more more strategically, I think is a very big challenge. And you know, when I talk to a lot of customers and ourselves included, I think one of the really ways to start attacking that is to think about what are the things in my company that are just taking too long that either I complain about doing or the people that work for me, they're just rote. We've got a lot of errors in them. People are, always having a hard time finding information, or there's a lot of stuff leaking through the cracks, maybe with customer interactions. It could be any of these things. But I think the key thing is today, and by the way, COVID brought this to the forefront, right? All these businesses that suddenly so much was changing and they didn't have effective ways to communicate with customers, answer customers' questions, all these different things, shift gears and tell customers how they're shifting gears, get customers' input on what they wanted. So just a laundry list of things. But it's really important to take a step back and take the time to say what do we need to do better to really not just sustain the business but to grow the business. Even if we don't want to grow it in terms of people, everybody wants to be more profitable and make more money. So if you don't, I feel that what we see in our research, companies that take the time to do that take the time to figure out how to digitize key aspects of the business, perform well. They perform better. Their revenue expectations are better. Their past revenue performance is better. Everything's better. So, we're reaching a point where there's the haves, the digital haves, and the digital have-nots. And so very important, just first of all, to, I guess, get a little fired up about this whole thing.
right. And no, that's an excellent point about where to look first, or what are the sort of sensitive areas of the business where you need to adopt technology in order to enhance performance. And you mentioned COVID. I did want to ask you, was it your research that showed, did you find that COVID increased the cloud adoption among small businesses? Has it had that effect?
Yeah, we did a study. Well, we've done like 3 different studies since COVID first hit, but we've definitely found that a few things. A lot of companies were already using, a lot of small businesses were already using several cloud applications before COVID, but a lot added new applications. And you can probably guess at some of the new ones they may have added, like Zoom or different tools to enable better collaboration when people were working remotely, things to enable, touch-free payments and transactions, adding e-commerce if they're a product company and they weren't selling online. So a lot of cloud applications, small businesses started using for the first time. We also looked at how valuable were these applications. And I mean, I don't remember the exact number, but it was a huge percentage, like 87, 88% that said they were extremely or very valuable in helping them sustain and start to recover during the pandemic. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense, because a lot of the things that companies had to do during COVID would have been pretty hard to do without technology. Again, the obvious thing is working remotely, but selling online, that's another another biggie. A lot of companies we've talked to, they were much more tipped towards their brick and mortar, but via the pandemic, they became much more e-commerce oriented.
Curious about the impact of cloud adoption on sort of enterprises versus small businesses. We know that large companies have been adopting cloud technology for a long time. It's very integrated into what they do, and they've used it, in at least my view, to some extent to outcompete small businesses. I'll give you an example. Domino's Pizza. So Domino's Pizza is a big company, franchise all over the country. They compete with little pizza places, local pizza places.
Yep.
Now, most of us would probably on a personal level say my little local pizza place has better pizza than Domino's
I would
Pizza.
hope so.
Right? But Domino's is so good. First of all, they're very good at marketing, and they've developed a great mobile app, and people find it extremely easy to use. It's one touch. They remember what pizza you bought last time. They tell you when the pizza is in the oven, out of the oven, in the car, on the way to you, delivered at the door. It's almost like the Amazon of pizza. And Amazon's obviously another example. And for a local business, we'll stick with our pizza example, to compete with Domino's is hard. Again, the pizza may be better, but if somebody's looking for convenience, it sure is convenient to pull out your phone, hit one button, and the pizza's at your doorstep in 29 minutes. And so I think that we see small businesses finding big businesses encroaching on them to some extent because of this increased adoption of or usage of sophisticated technology. So have you noticed that this has become more of an issue for small businesses? And, I guess the answer is small businesses should move to the cloud, right?
Yeah, I mean, small businesses, it all starts with the customer, right? You have to understand the customer expectations are always changing, and they certainly changed a lot with COVID. You might not have cared too much before if you had to go in that little pizza place and sit down and wait another 10 minutes for your pizza. But all of a sudden, we all had masks on, 6 feet of distancing, things like that. And you're right, the expectations from a Domino's were already that, okay, I can get this like almost instant notification of every step of my pizza's journey. And maybe it was great, but it wasn't that important. But now, like, you want those kinds of things as a customer. And I definitely think, again, you have to, as a business, tap into what your customer wants, what they expect, what they're saying about you on social media and in other places, and really be responsive and try to build a better mousetrap. And I've noticed, like, my hairdresser and other people I go to, my nail salon, need to get those done. But, they now all have automated systems to, I book the appointment, I get a reminder, I can put it on my calendar, I get another reminder a day or two before. They can accept payments in many different ways that maybe even just 3 years ago, I don't think a lot of them were doing. And it makes it very convenient for me as a customer. And the other thing is, it helps your business, because I hate to say it, but there's definitely appointments I've missed in the past because I forgot. I was gonna put it on my calendar, but I forgot to put it on my calendar. And now there's really, very little anyway excuse for that. It's gonna pop up, and if I can't make it, I should at least, let them know I'm not gonna be there. But yeah, absolutely. It's all, Amazon is the great example. As a consumer, they give you more convenience, more choice, and more price value, right? A lot of times. And so as a small business, you may not be needing to do all of these things because, like you said, your pizza may be much better than the Domino's pizza. So you want to have a great pizza, but you also want, and you may charge more for it. You should, for sure. I pay a lot more my local pizza place. But customer service is critical, because there's another small pizza place whose pizza is just as good, but they are doing all these things to make it easier for me to work with them and, use them to get my pizza, I'm going to buy their pizza, but I'm never going to Domino's.
Sure. So let's stick on that customer service topic for a minute. You've written about the importance of customer service for small businesses. I think you said the customer service is the new marketing. What do you mean by that, and why is customer service tied to technology? How do you see customer service tied to technology?
Yeah, well, it's pretty simple. It's called word of mouth. And again, before, the internet and everybody had smartphones in their pocket, and we had Facebook and Instagram and all these things, we would still say, I went to this restaurant last night. It was really great, or it was terrible. The service was terrible, whatever. So maybe you might influence a handful of people to try it or not try it. Nowadays, anything you do, you can you can post beautiful pictures of your meal on Instagram, or your hair, or whatever you want to post, or terrible commentary about the fact that the silverware was dirty, or whatever. And all this information is spreading digitally, and it's spreading a lot faster. I mean, we all know about Yelp reviews and every other kind of review, but there's also a lot just going on social media. So, in addition to review sites. So it's really important to be able to kind of tap into what people are saying about your business and about competitors' businesses, because that is going to be, critical to you being able to attract new business. And so the gist of it is that you've got to have great customer service, because if you do, it's a great marketing tool, like I said. But if you don't, it's the opposite of that. It could bring your business down.
Thanks. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back in just a minute with more from Laurie McCabe.
This episode of Winning on Main Street is brought to you by Thryv, the end-to-end client experience platform that includes everything small business owners need to meet their customers' expectations. Thryv's award-winning and fully mobile interface delivers technology previously reserved for big business to the fingertips of small business owners nationwide. Thryv's built specifically for small business, but there's nothing small about what it can do. Thryv handles your entire customer experience, helping business owners reach more customers, stay organized, get paid faster, and generate online reviews, all from a single device or screen. To learn more about Thryv, visit winningonmainstreet.com and click on Get a Demo. When it comes to software to run your business, there's no comparison. Check out Thryv today.
We're back with Laurie McCabe, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this issue you were just discussing of customer service. Customer service, to me, it seems like it's grown in what we mean by customer service. Maybe in the old days it was a smiling face or a nice voice on the phone. It seems customer service means more to that, and more than that today. And I think, again, looking at some of these examples of big companies versus small companies, I think about Uber, what they've done to the taxi industry. And to me, part of Uber's appeal is, you can see the car coming to your house and driving up your driveway, and you see that all on the screen. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to review. And then the payment is taken care of automatically. You don't have to carry money with you. You don't even have to swipe a credit card. It's in the app already. To me, that some of that is sort of feels like customer service. It's easy to use. It's just this whole idea of ease of use, as opposed to I have to call them and maybe I have to call back to remind them. And then I don't know who's going to be driving up my driveway. There's a sort of implicit guarantee of quality. You can see the ratings and reviews of the driver. Where does customer service begin and end? It seems to grow. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think customer I think one way to think about it is just in a little bit bigger context, which would be customer experience. And
Yes.
today, your company is probably being evaluated as a potential merchant or whatever you do before you even know it. Because of this digital word of mouth we're talking about, and all these ways people can just go on the internet and get information about you. Are you even just showing up? You may not even be considered because your company isn't, easily searchable and findable, or the information's not accurate, or whatever. I remember once I made an appointment, I drove to the address that was, on the Google search, and they weren't there. So before you even know a customer may even want to do business, that customer experience is starting. And it really encompasses from there every touch point they have with your brand. Again, whether you know about it or not, whether it's those reviews. And yes, as I said before, that convenience, and we can all think of Amazon. It is just so convenient to buy things, return things, and see everything you've ordered, repeat your orders, buy things on a subscription, whatever you need. It's very easy to do. So yeah, all of that is customer service. It's not just solving a problem, which I think is how we used to think of customer service. Now that's still very important. Don't get me wrong, but it starts a lot earlier, and it also includes just educating your customer. So if you're a landscaper, you should be out there educating on your website and social media, Facebook, whatever, about landscaping. It's building credibility for your brand and trust for your brand, because you're sharing information that's valuable to, people that may want your services. So it's all of those things. It's not just solving the problem when something breaks or something goes wrong. It's everything leading up, and everything, and it's circular too, right? It's like a flywheel. Everything kind of connects to everything else.
Yeah. Laurie, we just have a few minutes left, but I did want to ask you, as we've been talking about the cloud now, and SMBs moving to the cloud. Is it happening? To what extent is it happening? Am I an SMB listening to this and thinking, oh, I'm not going to be a pioneer, or where are we in the journey?
We're far into the journey now. So, it depends on the application area, and in things like, accounting, it's slower, but in things like marketing, sales, payroll, customer service, HR, even, things are moving really. Collaboration. I mean, how could you even think about having a collaboration tool that's not in the cloud these days? It's almost, why wouldn't you just get Slack or something? So it's really moving very fast. And one of the things we look at is new businesses versus, businesses that have been around a long time. So if a business is less than 5 years old, they're much more likely to be doing much more of their work on the cloud, in a cloud application. So there's only one way I see it going, which is steadily increasing to the point where, in a lot of the application categories I mentioned, cloud is the mainstream way. It is already the mainstream way for sales and marketing and collaboration and things like that. And it's catching up in a lot of these other areas too.
Great. I just want to spend a minute or two before we finish off here about you. Maybe you could tell us, is there any kind of books or reading or listening you recommend for small businesses so they can get up to speed on the cloud or technology? I know you have your own blog. Is there any other writers or information you recommend?
Yeah, there's so many out there. I mean, I think that one of the things, definitely read my blog for sure. And I think some of the pubs out there, do a lot of great reporting on the cloud. I'm trying to, there's just too many for me to just, rip through them. Also, there's different experts in different areas like CRM versus accounting and things like that, and in different industries. So you might, need to do a little bit of search to find out what's going to be most relevant. And there's so many small business sites. There's small business, what is it, Anita Campbell's site? I'm trying to think. Her site is great, Anita Campbell, so you can look that up. Small Business Edge. There are so many. I don't want to start mentioning them because I will be leaving people out. But there's no dearth of information out there about how small businesses can get started on the cloud, be successful with the cloud. And I think the ones that bring it all to the business benefits are the ones you care about. The underlying technology is important. It's what makes it work. But the main thing is it easy to use, easy to buy, easy to learn? Will everybody in my company that needs to use it? And does it do what I need? And most of the reputable cloud providers have built in a lot of the things that you might worry about, like security and other aspects. So I would recommend a great place though. I would recommend GetApp, GETAPP, getapp.com. They are a great site for helping you evaluate different cloud solutions. They have a lot of user ratings, reviews, everything like that. So if you really don't know where to start, go to GetApp. You can filter by different types of needs that you have, company size, industry, whatever. And at least start helping you narrow down the list and get some reviews on what people like you might think of it.
Right. And I know on specific software review, you can go to places like Capterra or G2, G2 that have software reviews from users.
Very similar, right? Yeah. All of those sites I think are great because most small businesses, they want to hear from other small businesses that are like them.
Yeah.
Exactly. And sure. I think those are good places to start.
Good. Well, it's been great having you on the show, and thank you for sharing your depth of knowledge about cloud computing with our audience. I'm sure this will be very useful for people. So thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, my pleasure. Nice talking to you, Gordon. Thank you.
And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell a friend or a colleague to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. We'd really appreciate it. Until next time, make it a great week.